Let's talk about something that acts like a shield, a document that protects your most basic, fundamental freedoms. We're talking about the Bill of Rights. And trust me, it's way more than just an old piece of paper. It's the very bedrock of what it means to be free in the United States. I want you to imagine this for a second. You've just fought a revolution, won your independence, and you're building a whole new country from scratch. You've got this brand new constitution, but there's this nagging question in the back of everyone's mind. What's to stop this new government from becoming just as powerful and controlling as the one you just got rid of? And look, this wasn't just some what-if scenario. This was a real, deep-seated fear. The first Americans were seriously worried that the government they were creating could one day turn on them. So they demanded a guarantee, a line in the sand that the government could never cross. So how did they do it? How did they solve this problem? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. We're going to look at how the Bill of Rights puts limits on the government, how it protects your personal freedoms, what it does to make sure you get a fair shake in court, how it divides up power, and maybe most importantly, why these ideas from centuries ago are still so incredibly relevant to you today. The answer to that big fear wasn't just some promise or handshake. No, they built a fortress of words. They wrote down a list of legally binding protections, a set of ironclad rules that the government simply cannot break. And that list, well, that's what we call the Bill of Rights. It's the first 10 changes or amendments to the Constitution. And their purpose was crystal clear: to guarantee the most important rights and freedoms for every single American forever. Okay, so let's start with the rights that you probably bump into every single day. The freedoms that let you be you, to speak your mind and just live your life without the government constantly looking over your shoulder. Now this one, the First Amendment, is like the Swiss Army knife of freedoms. Seriously, it packs 5 huge ideas into one little package. It means you can practice any religion you want or no religion at all. You can say what you think, even if it's unpopular. The press can report on what the government is doing. You can gather in groups to protest. And you can formally complain to the government when you think they're wrong. All of that without getting thrown in jail for it. And those protections, they follow you all the way home. You've got the Second Amendment, which came from the idea of needing state militias, protecting the right to bear arms. And then there's the Third Amendment, which, sounds a little odd today, but it was a direct shot at the British. They used to force people to let soldiers live in their houses. This amendment just says, nope, not happening. My house is my house. Now this is where things get really clever. The Ninth Amendment is basically the "and so much more" clause. It says, hey, we just listed a bunch of important rights, but don't for a second think this is the only rights you have. It's this amazing recognition that our freedoms aren't just a short list, they're this huge, expanding universe of rights. Okay, so we've covered your personal freedoms, but what happens if you find yourself in trouble, on the wrong side of the law? Well, the Bill of Rights acts like a powerful shield there too, making sure the justice system has to treat you fairly. And that protection starts way before a courtroom is ever involved. The Fourth Amendment is basically your personal do not disturb sign for the government. It protects your privacy from unreasonable searches and seizures. What that usually means is the police can't just barge in and start rummaging through your stuff. They typically need a warrant, and to get a warrant, they need to have actual evidence. Now, if you are charged with a crime, a whole bunch of other safeguards kick in to make it a fair fight. The Fifth Amendment gives you the right to remain silent. You've all heard it, pleading the Fifth. It also protects you from something called double jeopardy, which means you can't be put on trial for the exact same crime twice once you've been found innocent. Then the Sixth Amendment comes in and guarantees you a quick, public trial with a neutral jury, and, crucially, the right to have a lawyer fighting for you. And even if a trial doesn't go your way, the protections don't stop. The Eighth Amendment steps in to make sure the punishment actually fits the crime. It bans cruel and unusual punishment and says the government can't demand crazy high amounts for bail or fines. The goal is simple: justice should be fair and reasonable. And by the way, this isn't all just about criminal law. The Seventh Amendment makes sure you have the right to a jury trial in most civil cases too. Things like disputes over contracts or property. So even in those situations, you get to have your case heard by regular people. So we have personal freedoms, rights in court, but that brings up a really big question, right? In this whole system, who actually has the power? And how do we keep it all balanced? Let's dive into that. This is where the 10th Amendment comes in, and it is a huge deal. It's actually pretty simple. It says that if the Constitution doesn't specifically give a power to the federal government in Washington, D.C., then that power belongs to the states or to the people themselves. It's the ultimate check on federal power, and it's why states handle things like local schools or driving laws.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This is all interesting history, but these are really old ideas. Do they really matter today? And the answer is 100% yes. The Bill of Rights isn't some dusty relic in a museum. It's a living, breathing document that affects your life every single day in ways you might not even realize.
So if we boil it all down, what's the whole point? It's to put a leash on government power, to protect your right to be you, to make sure everyone gets treated fairly by the law, and to guarantee that these rights aren't just for a select few, they're for everyone. If you take away just one single idea from all of this, let it be this one. The whole concept is that the government serves the people, not the other way around. The Bill of Rights is our constant reminder that the government works for us, and its number one job is to protect our rights, not to take them away. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. If you had to, if you could only keep one of these rights, which one would it be? It's a tough one, for sure, but just thinking about it reminds you how valuable and maybe how fragile all these freedoms really are.